Hi, my name is Nick with evolvingpixels.com, and I'm going to show you how to do quick mask editing and some adjustments in Photoshop to clean up and make a great picture, a greater picture. And so we have our lovely model here, and I'm going to just get started right here and just follow along. I always start a new layer, so I right click, duplicate layer. So now we have two layers, as you can see. Layering is very important in Photoshop, so you can always go back. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust the brightness and contrast. So we're going to go to Image, Adjust, Brightness, Contrast. Get something to my liking here. Something to push the colors out a little bit more, make it look a little bit more vibrant. We could also do curves. We go to Image, Adjustments, Curves. Take note, I'm working in Photoshop CS4. Just in case you were wondering, the interface can differ from versions. But as you can see here, I have a graph. When I pull down on the graph near the bottom, it accentuates the darks. When I grab from the top, it accentuates the lights. You only need to ever so slightly mess around with this graph, if even needed to. But I just want to push the darks a little bit more darker, ever so slightly. I think that will do. Next, we're going to do a quick mask. There's a little icon down here. It kind of looks like a camera almost. And it says Edit in Quick Mask. So what we're going to do is click this. Now we are in Quick Mask. Now, very importantly, for a quick shortcut, if you press B, this will activate your brush tool. Now make sure your opacity is at 100. And you definitely want to adjust the size here of your brush. The hotkey for that is a bracket. The right bracket should enlarge, there we go, your brush. The left bracket should shrink your brush. So I'm just going to go across this and select the entire face of here, around here. We'll skip the eyes because we're going to work on the eyes in a bit, and we're going to skip the mouth as well, but we're going to get her whole skin here, kind of literally highlighting all parts of her face here. And what this is going to do is we're going to select, literally just kind of peel off this part of her face. Digitally, of course. So we go back to Quick Mask, and you notice it has certain regions here selected. We missed a section here, so let's go back into Quick Mask here and make sure that's selected. There we go. This will work for us. Now, very importantly, we need to invert this selection because it's selecting everything that I didn't highlight. So we press Control Shift I, and that will switch to her face. But as you notice, we're missing a little bit piece here, so let's just Control Z, go back into Quick Mask, and select this area here. These things happen. Exit out. Face is all selected. Control Shift I, and now we have her face selected, minus the eyes and the mouth. What we're going to do is copy this, Control C or Command C, and paste, Control V. And now, I'll show you, we have just her skin off her face. It's kind of creepy, but this is very helpful for us because now we are going to edit that. I'm just going to duplicate this just in case, and we're going to now go in and just remove minor minor just blemishes here. The best way to do this is with this little friendly tool up here, the Band-Aid tool, or they call it the spot healing brush. I see a Band-Aid, so I call it a Band-Aid tool. What this is going to do is it's going to sample regions of the image and replace it. We're going to zoom in here, Z for zooming in, and click it a couple times. And we'll just go back to the spot healing tool, which is J for the shortcut. We're just going to go in here and highlight and rub. Very important to kind of rub the mouse around on it. Blends better. I'm going to just speed things up here. Okay, now we got most, if not all, like minor blemishes all taken care of. Go right here. I mean, you can be as picky as you want until you think it's perfect. But this is what we have here for that. Now that the skin is all clean, what we want to do is work on the eyes. What we can do for this is maybe just push out the makeup a little bit more, make it a little bit more vibrant, because that is part of the subject of this image. So I'm going to quick mask the eyes. And once again, what we can do is we have to go back to the original duplicated layer down here to access the eyes. We're going to click quick mask, make sure you press B for brush, and we're just going to grab the eyes here. Exit quick mask, Control Shift I. Now we have the eyes selected. Control C for copy, Control V for paste. Now if you notice, let me make all these other layers disappear. We have the eyes. That's just what we want. It's perfect. So, putting this together, we have the eyes selected. Now very importantly, name your layers, because we're starting to get a lot of layers here, and we're going to start to get a little bit confused. So I named one layer eyes, one layer skin. Pretty simple. So let's go back to the eyes, and let's go adjust and curves. I'm going to push those colors, make them a little more deeper, curve it down a bit. Go midway, kind of even that out. It's looking good. And then I like to top it off with brightness contrast. So we go to Image, Adjustment, Brightness Contrast. Let's pop that out. The word pop. I don't know who made that word pop. Let's push the color out a little bit more. I think that sounds better. Contrast it a little bit more. And now we really have something going on here. Now you can really see that makeup. Before, after. Next thing we'll do is we'll do the lips. We're going to quick mask the lips. Let's make sure we're selected on this layer here. Enter quick mask, B for brush, and start outlining her lips. Exit quick mask, invert by Control Shift I, or another way to invert is select and inverse up at the top there. We'll do the same thing. I want to copy, Control C, paste, Control V, and now we have her lips. So let's do the same thing. Let's go to the curves, image, adjustments, curves. Let's start pushing the color out a bit. Something to match up the top. Make it look magical. There we go. It's really getting it. Look at that. So, now that we have the lips and the skin's cleaned and everything else here, we can now, let's just do one more thing with the skin. So you see, we'll take our skin layer here, let's just duplicate it, skin copy, sure. And now what we're going to do is just, let's give this a slight Gaussian blur. Gaussian blur, Gaussian blur. Whatever you want to call it, I don't care. It's a blur. What this is going to do, it's going to smooth out her skin just a little bit more. Let me give it about 4. You don't want too much, because then now what we're going to do is adjust the opacity here. So just kind of cleans and smoothens the face just a little bit more. There we go. That should do it. Now, before we do this, anything else, I highly recommend you save every now and then, every 10-15 minutes, and even make different save files, because you might end up messing something up and not being able to go back to it. What we're going to do here is collapse all of these layers into one. This is what I like to do as a final touch. So I'm going to click the top layer, and I'm going to hold shift, and I'm going to click the bottom layer, which is going to select all the layers. Then I'm going to press Control E, which is going to flatten all the layers together. And then, as a little bit, a little final touch I like to add here is a sharpen. Now you do Smart Sharpen because you have more control. And let's just mess around. We want to remove Gaussian blur or lens blur. It really depends. They almost do the same thing. It depends on the amount of blur. But for this, we just use Gaussian blur. It does the same thing, really. And we just sharpen it up just a little bit. Keeps your skin still smooth, and just sharpens up those little crevices that we don't see. And so there you have it. You have our original image that we used on. It looked great. And then we have our enhanced edited version. Well, that'll do it for this edit. I hope you learned a little bit more about the Quick Mask tool and some of the other hotkeys around here to speed up things in Photoshop. You could find these tutorials and more at evolvingpixels.com.